Well, hello there again, friends. Today is 4/8/2022, and today is the Odin Project Vlog Day 88. And today I worked on the sidebar. It was the most logical place to go next because it was next in line on my HTML, and and it was by far going to take me a lot less time than the main content article or main content section will. So highlighted here is the sidebar. I kept it a little bit. Uh, I know it looks like a lot there, but I kept it simpler as far as nested divs. I have went back and forth quite a bit about using and not using divs. Excuse me, nested divs in here, and so I decided not to. So um, that's why you see, I mean, you do see divs in here, but they're just basically text divs. But there's no nesting like we have done so far in the project. Just throwing it up a little bit because everything on the sidebar is very linear, and I didn't feel the need to have to nest because there wasn't a lot need. I didn't feel there was a need for that complication. So I tried to use the KISS method. If you ever heard of that, keep it simple, stupid. So here it is. So I went out and, as you can see, there's a whole bunch more items here in my assets folder. I better blow this up a little bit for you. There's more things in my assets folder, as you can see here. So I went out and got to material design and got a lot more stuff to complete the icons on the sidebar. And so that's right here. I won't go through it, but here I'll make it a little bit bigger for you so you can take a second, take a peek. It's just a lot of replication. Basically, I created different classes for each. Well, they have common threads. So the sidebar title is the class for every single text, and then the icon is all sub bar dash title, or excuse me, sidebar dash images is all the images except the top two, and it has two. It has the sidebar dash top and a sidebar dash images and sidebar dash title, and you'll see why I did that here in a bit because I had to do a lot of finagling with different padding and margin, or different padding mainly, in order to get it to look the way I want it to look, even after using grid, so kind of doing polishing up. So I had two different classes. So I'll show you that in the browser. I won't go over the CSS in here. I think last time worked really well as far as showing you how everything's set up and laid out. So we'll do that again this time. So there's basically that, and I had an alternative text for the screen readers on every single image. And I just used the same word that I used for the text in the sidebar. So I will mention one thing that I did end up removing at the top here in the container. I had a gap in here prior, 4 pixels of gap. I just removed it because it was looking weird and it really wasn't necessary. Sorry, hit the mic there. It wasn't really necessary, and it was really just making the project look weird. I don't need that gap because it's going to transition probably with some type of border or shade. um, so I took that out, and so I just want to tell you that up front. So let's hit the admin tools here, or dev tools, excuse me. Making good progress. Sorry, where am I going here? Sorry. Been a long day, long week. So, excuse me. Still got that tickle in my throat. So here is the sidebar. I got the grid on it, so you can see. Here's my sidebar. So for the CSS portion, I have a border. Obviously, all this is stuff we've already went through. The only thing, well, the thing that I added, not the only thing, is I made Sidebar a grid, so it's its own grid. And then I added grid template columns of 0.5 and 1FR and rows. This kind of looks confusing, but it's really not. So the columns, 0.5 and 1, so that means that I've got half the size here going this way, and the other half and the other column double the size. And I did that because I wanted, for one, it helped me with centering, and a lot of this is aesthetics, and it helped with keeping the icons to the center. Because when I had 1FR, 1FR, everything was basically spacing in the center, really, with a lot of gaps, and it just wasn't looking right. I wish I would have, now that I think about it, I wish I would have took screenshots as I was going through things, because it's hard to explain the end product when I'm trying to explain the why I did it, but that's why I did that. And then for grid template rows, I have 1FR, so that would be the first row is 1FR, so that's this row right here, and then it repeats 5 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, 5, down to tasks. And those are half FRs, so they're half the size, and that's just to get this aesthetic look here to somewhat match this here, getting that gap in there. And so that's why I did that. And boy, I'm all over the place. Pardon me, guys. And I have 1FR, which that's the communities here, to get the, so it's the same size as the dashboard grid cell. So that 1FR comes there, and then there's a 3 repeat of half FR again, just the second section down here of settings, support, and privacy, getting the same spacing as the middle section. And that's why that, so after you explain, it doesn't look too bad. When you first look at this just looks like a confusing mess here, but it's really not. Align item start, and I had to Google that one. What that does is that I needed, I really, the way I did this, I needed all of the icons and the text to go to the top of the grid item and the cell in order to get the spacing to be correct. Because originally I had it as center and it wasn't working. I couldn't get the spacing right. Everything was looking really goofy. So that's where I ended up with that. Again, my way is not the only way. It probably isn't even the best way. It's just the way I did it, and I'm actually pretty happy with the result. Worked a lot on it. Worked really hard on it last 2 days. Got the gap of 10 pixels. That's what you see here in these little hashed areas. So that creates the little spacing in between the text and the icon to somewhat match this here. Again, it's not perfect. It's not pixel perfect, and they say don't strive for that, because I was for a while, and you'll drive yourself nuts. So getting it close is good enough. So then I have a background color, which is self-explanatory. It's the same color I used for the buttons up here. And then here's my image class. So I'll show you what I did here, and then a lot of it's replication. But so start off with, I have a class selector of sidebar-top.sidebar.images. If you remember, if you put a period in between both of the excuse me, hang on a second. Sorry about that, guys. Need a drink. When you combine those together, you're targeting just that sidebar images. So so it's going to sidebar top, which is both of these, but it's only targeting the sidebar images. So it's the one I'm highlighting. I have it set to height 50 pixels and width auto, and that's the image. And I did that because I needed the image to be targeted, so it's much larger than the other SVG images, and that's the only reason for that. Sidebar.top, that would be targeting everything that's just sidebar-top, which should be basically the top two items here, the image and the div. So it'd be the icon and the dashboard word. And it has a padding top of 20 pixels, a font size of 25 pixels, and a font weight of 900, which makes it bold. So basically I got 20 pixels of padding on the top of both of these, 25 pixels of font size for both, and for dashboard, and then font weight of 900 for dashboard. And then I have Sidebar Images. Is justify self-write. So this is targeting all sidebar images, which is every single image, because they all have sidebar images in them, even the top one here. So that's where the commonality is, and they're all self-justified right, which means they're going to be put all the way to the right side of the grid cell. And then going down to sidebar top, this is the dashboard text. That's filtered out because the padding top is filtered out because I have up here, I have a specific target, sidebar-top.sidebar.title, which targets this particular dashboard div to be padding top 30 pixels. And I did that on purpose because watch what happens. Watch dashboard when I take this out. See how it moved just a little bit to the top? So it was fine. It's just having it like that was driving me nuts because it wasn't centered with the image, and it's not perfectly centered. 30 pixels just got me eyeballed in the right area, and that's all I was really looking for. So that's why this is filtered out, because excuse me, man, I'm struggle bus today. Something stuck in my throat. Anyway, the sidebar title is more targeted, so it's being processed last through CSS processing. Can't remember the word there, but not parent-child, but you get what I'm saying. It's processed last, so it's filtering out this sidebar top. So sidebar top is targeted the dashboard again. It's just that word. Now we're just dealing with the font. So 25 pixels and bold, like I already mentioned. And there is that. And I think that's going to be about it. As far as a lot of explanation. So yeah, so if you boy, it sure does explain a lot faster when you do. It seems like when I do it in the browser instead of having to flip back and forth, because I expect this video to take a lot longer than it did. So yep, so there's my grid, and if you resize it, it doesn't really move too much, although I did make it with all the FRs, I did make it responsive, so it will it really won't move because I'm moving it this way, but or opposite side, but it will shift if it gets small enough, I guess is what I'm saying. Not to over explain that, but by using FRs everywhere, especially in the grid, the main grid up here, of using all these FRs. So I hope that all made sense, especially the FR part. That's a key part to this whole section and the way I did it. So please rewatch the video if you need further understanding on how I did some of this. It's not perfect, because if you notice, maybe you won't, but now that I pointed out, you will. The icons are not lined up centered like they are on the example. I basically stopped. I got kind of tired of it at that point and didn't really care. I actually kind of like it this way anyway, because if you take the grid off, your eyes aren't really directed to it anymore. See how that it just, to me, it looks really nice. Having those icons basically right justified like that, it kind of looks more centered, especially when you have the dashboard being as large as it is, so everything's just kind of like centered in the middle of the sidebar. So I actually kind of like this method better, so I'm actually going to leave that. But that is something that technically is not exactly right. But again, we're not striving for pixel perfection here. But yeah, I don't think there's really anything else for me to cover. Everything else is the same from last video. I will say that I am on call yet, and I had my day started at 3:30 a.m. today with a call. So I'm on call all weekend yet, and then I come off call Monday morning at 8 a.m. So um, I may or may not make a video, depending on how much I get done. I would like to. We're going on to the main content, which is going to be the beefiest of all of it. So I have a soft goal of trying to complete this by the end of the weekend. But with me being on call, I'm actually really impressed with how much I got done this week since I have been on call, and I have gotten some calls. It's not been crazy, thank the Lord. But so we'll see. My soft goal again is to get this done by the weekend, so next week we can or I can move over into JavaScript, advanced JavaScript, and start that section out. But if not, no big deal. I just want to let you guys know in case I don't put up a video this weekend. That's probably why, or I just didn't get to a place where I could make a video. So with all that said, please like, share, and subscribe for more content. And let me know in the comments section how you guys are doing with this project so far and how far along you are. And until next time, see ya.